Hey everyone, my name is Lisa Ann, and today we're talking about how to curate good-looking content on Instagram. Now, in terms of platform relevance, let me tell you the top three: Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. All of them have their nuances, but Instagram is so particular. So you better know how to make things look visually pleasing to the eye if you hope to impress your audience and if you hope to grab their attention and keep their attention. Now, obviously, there's a lot of different types of content that you can post on Instagram, but in today's video, we're going to be focusing on regular static images or even your photography. And the reason why is that that's what the majority of Instagram is composed of. And it's because it's the easiest place to start. Video content like your Instagram Reels, your IGTV, they are so relevant and I highly recommend them, but they're not the best place to start if you're a beginner or if you're just learning how to even take social media seriously for your brand or business. I'm actually going to break this video into 4 specific steps for you. That way, this is very actionable, very easy to implement, and easy to follow for you. So let's dive in. Step number 1 is all about setting your intention. The most important part about making a good-looking Instagram page is intention. Acknowledging that this is going to take a little bit of effort will make starting out a lot easier for you. And if you're motivated to have your content be seen and actually stand out amongst everyone, it's important to acknowledge that it takes time and a little bit of learning about photography, design, and storytelling. So I suggest you give yourself permission to learn and don't expect to be able to apply all of these methods as seamlessly as the pros, because trust me, it takes time to get to that level. Now, step number 2 is actually all about your perspective and honing in on the critical eye. A great way to be a better photographer is to first understand what you're actually looking in and what you're looking for and how to actually describe it. You don't have to be a professional to improve your understanding of what takes an image from good to great. The easiest way to go from drab to dazzling is to open your mind before you open your eyes. How we all learn, yes, it may be different, but the path to a great post can be as simple as learning the words artists and creatives use every single day. Is your image or your post visually dark compared to other images? Should it be? Is the mood your image or post wants to convey happy or thoughtful? These are the types of conversations that artists have when making content really just pop and stand out. Honing your critical eye begins with being able to ask and answer questions of yourself using simple adjectives and descriptions like, is it light and bright, or do you want it to be dark? Is it fun, or do you want it to be sad or thoughtful? Is it bold or understated, balanced or unbalanced, calm or exciting, brilliant, shiny versus dull? Is it warm versus cool, loud versus muted, interesting versus boring? Honestly, there's so many comparisons that you can do. And being able to more easily compare the good posts to the bad is actually going to speed up your creative process. So ask yourself, is your post as exciting, vibrant, or intriguing as similar examples that you wanted to imitate? Learning how to break down posts that garner high engagement will turn you from an amateur to a real art director, or marketing expert, or photo editor extraordinaire, whatever it is that you want to be. If your content isn't telling a story or grabbing people's attention, it's probably your presentation's thrown off. Now, actually, let's get into step number 3, because that's all about how to actually be a good photographer. Some artists insist that you can't teach good design, and in some cases that may be true, but not this one. There are fundamentals that everyone can learn. So don't be worried if you're not a great artist or you have no idea how to take pictures right now. Knowing what works and what doesn't work actually is sometimes even more important than being creative. Now, since Instagram is focused mostly on good photography, let's decipher what makes a photograph good. One of the biggest must-haves in compelling composition. To achieve this method, just like the rule of thirds and the rule of symmetry are some of the most commonly used because they're so effective. But other techniques to consider could be framing, your depth of field, your negative space, and just to name a few. But this video, let's get into the rule of thirds. So when applying the rule of thirds, the textbook definition is described as this. It's an image that is divided evenly into thirds, okay, both horizontally and vertically. And the subject of that image is placed on the intersection of the lines or along the line itself. That could be super complicated for you. So a fun way to look at this is to think about your image as first as being centered, left, and right. Should your key focal point be in the top, middle, or bottom to use the space in your post to maximize its potential? Now consider your Instagram square as real estate with the content broken up into a grid, okay? This is a grid. We want to draw the eyes so the negative space around the subject and its supporting element is actually telling a story. In all the world of imagery, the rule of thirds is the biggest slam dunk there is. Now, by understanding the rule of thirds, you'll have a much simpler time improving your photo because the formula, it's always the same, the exact same thing. Now, on top of focusing on the rule of thirds, there's a lot of other photographic elements to consider, okay? So first of all, we have our lighting. Lighting can change your entire photo. It can change the mood. It can change if it's a good photo or a bad photo. The point is, lighting is super, super important. So take advantage of lighting before you think you need to buy a new camera, okay? You'll actually be shocked at how much improved your images will be with this one change alone. And if you're unsure where to find good light, go by a window. It's free, it's available, it's right there for you. Now another aspect is lines. Lines can refer to a few things. Now going back to the rule of thirds, how you line up your image is definitely important. But there's also the lines within the image. So let's say you have a picture of a road, okay? The road's here and it's going back and it starts to disappear in the distance, okay? Now what you're actually doing, it's getting people's eyes to follow down this line and follow the road all the way down. Or let's say at the end of the road, that's where you're standing, you're like, hey, I'm here at the end of the road. By you staying at the end of that line, you're actually guiding your viewer's eyes throughout the photograph and essentially getting them to look at that specific point in the photo. Okay, lines are important. Now also let's talk about your color. Color gives life to our world, and with color, just the absence of it can change the mood of a photo. Think about black and white photos. But for those of you who wouldn't dare live without color, there are a few things you can think about, such as your color temperature. And I mentioned this before. Is it warm versus cool, which is usually more yellow tones versus blue tones? And paying attention to what feeling the color evokes in the image, and as well as your color coordination. In regards to Instagram specifically, one method to creating a very congruent and unified images is by utilizing color coordination by focusing on featuring one particular color in every single image, okay? This is a lot more difficult to do and it does take some planning, but it's really, really worthwhile. Look at this example right here. This page looks beautiful and it looks so polished, and the reason why is they've decided to focus on blue since that's their brand color. So every photo has some sort of blue in it. Now another great way to maximize colors in an image is by taking advantage of contrasting colors. Same thing with textures. They add character and provide variety. Same thing could be said with shapes and patterns. Contrast in general, no matter if it's color or black and white or shapes or whatever, it's important you pay attention to that in your images. Now also actually, reducing your clutter in your photos and making your subject more pronounced is also something really little that's usually missed. Pay attention to what's around you. Pick up the sweater off the ground. Remove the used mug off the table. And lastly, think about how you're actually framing the image. Is there an opportunity to have more creative framing with your images? Start thinking about something fun. Start thinking about something different. What can you do to capture your subject a little bit differently? Which actually takes me into step number 4, which is all about your application, aka putting this all into practice. Obviously, we've discussed some of the details of what makes a good photo good. Like I said, now it's time to actually put this into practice, because remember, even if you are going to hire someone or get someone else to do the work for you, you need to know what looks good and what doesn't look good. Now, generally speaking, someone will need to handpick these images, hence the title, curating good-looking content on Instagram. But if you're on this journey solo, you have to do this all by yourself, you have to know this. There are a ton of resources online for you. One of the secrets, if you don't have photography of yourself, is using stock photography. And I do hope you know that there's good stock photography, high quality, and then there's bad stock quality. You just need to know where to look. For completely free of cost, royalty-free images that can be even used for commercial purposes, unsplash.com is where you're gonna wanna go. You won't believe the variety and the volume of images available to you for absolutely nothing. It is seriously unreal. Now, of course, there are a few other options for you, but Unsplash is one of my favorites, and if and only if I don't have photos of myself, that's where I'm usually headed. Now, the last thing anyone wants to do is deal with Creative Commons images, because chances are you won't be thrilled with the options. I do suggest you familiarize yourself with the copyright laws as well, and even the types, as there are so many different classifications if you're trying to solely find images for free, but Unsplash should be your first destination. In addition to that, there are other quality websites that are worth the money that they ask, such as iStock, Invado, Marketplace, among many others, but it's just a matter of finding the right ones for you. Now, one thing you can do is start with stock photography, and while you're developing your skills on the side and in the time, start to begin to blend your personal images into the feed of images that you've already collected from the internet. This is a great tactic that saves a lot of time and often gives you so many more options than making sure that you're taking all your photos yourself. But if do it yourself is a must because you prefer it that way, find the creative process fun, or because you budget absolutely insist on it, be honest with your efforts and do it right the first time around. Consider the importance of actually purchasing a high quality camera. That you'll stay committed to for at least 5 years. But to give you an example of my personal experience, I purchased this Canon 2Ti, I think it was back in 2010. I think it was $1,000. This camera I think is worth about half the price now, but I still have it, I still use it. I either use this or my iPhone to do my personal photos. That's all I ever use. But in today's world of marketing, a camera is a great investment, because I'm sure every photographer will agree with me. The photos that you can take on your iPhone or your Android, they're not as good as what you can take on here. But remember, honing in on your critical eye can take time for you, and it might feel super intuitive, or it might feel so uncomfortable. If it doesn't come naturally to you, don't worry at all. The majority of the population doesn't see things visually, so it does require a lot of practice. But achieving good looking content could be compared to achieving a great body, which takes careful practice and repeated application. So make sure you save this video to your playlist, that way you can come back and refer to these methods over and over again until you get it right. But that way you become familiar with them. That's all it takes is practice. But of course, that is all I have for you. And again, my name is Lisa Ann. I'm a digital marketing strategist, and I have such a big passion to help you and all the other entrepreneurs out there figure out the right way to utilize social media in digital marketing and have your business run on automation for you. So if you have any questions at all, feel free to post them right below this video. And if not, I'll see you next week. Bye for now.